Hey there, Andrea Seidel here. I'm also known as the Book Doula and the CEO of Live Life Happy Publishing. I am here because we always love celebrating books that change lives. And we're going to feature books as well. The book club is back. It never really went away, but we lost all our episodes, but we're back. We are going to continue putting them back in and migrating them into the Live Life Happy community. So I hope you can come and join us. Besides, there's huge amounts of action sheets because we're all about turning knowledge into action and sucking out the actionable nuggets from these amazing authors who put so much love, attention, time, energy, wisdom, experience into their books. And we want to celebrate them. And of course, I always say, if something sparks your interest, to purchase the book and support the author, that this is just a reminder of the genius that's inside every single one of these books. And so I'm so happy you're here, and I want to share a book today, and I'm just pulling it up. It is called The Expectation Effect. Now, this is cool. It's by David Robson. And the subtitle is How Your Mindset Can Change Your World. And so just think about that. Have you ever expected, like, I know what I do. Sometimes I'll pull into the parking lot at my gym, and the parking lot is jammed at this place. And I usually pull in and I say to myself, I go, wouldn't it be great if there's a parking spot for me? And inevitably, there is one. So I have this expectation that there's going to be a parking spot available for me. And then there is one. But sometimes when I don't do that, then I'm circling around and I usually have to park on the road. So it's amazing. So this book really does allow us to investigate this idea. This book stood out to me in so many ways because it reveals that, the expectation effect can be so mind-blowing as well as empowering. Our expectations don't just influence how we feel, they actively shape what we experience. So I'm going to say that again because this is directly from his book, David Robson. Our expectations don't just influence how we feel. They influence how we feel. They also actively shape what we experience. So unbelievable, right? It can come from the perspective of health, from the perspective of performance, to stress, to aging, to resilience. David Robson shows us how beliefs, what we believe, can become biological, they become emotional, and they become behavioral realities. This is huge. So, of course, let's celebrate this author, David Robson. He's an award-winning science writer known for translating complex research into deeply engaging, accessible insights. And he's done that in this book. His work is all about neuroscience, psychology, as well as real life applications. And The Expectation Effect is a masterpiece. I love this book. It's so great. And there's so much science in it, and he makes it usable for us. So I love that. So this book really matters because it hands us back our agency. We become the agents of our life again. And it helps us to really realize the power that we have over our lives. Okay, so let's jump in. So one thing that I really found intriguing and thought-provoking, not just one thing, there's many things, it's really fascinating to me to think that there's actually research that confirms that it's not just woo-woo, that what we expect can actually bring about change, right? What we expect to happen can outperform willpower. Our expectations alone can be more powerful than even willpower. And so Robson really does explore this whole idea of the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, he calls it. And so he talks about this idea of how beliefs shape pain, stress, and healing. And he's got the scientific studies that proves this, that our beliefs can actually make us feel more pain, that our beliefs can actually make us feel more stressed, that our beliefs can actually cause healing. And there has been so much science that has backed this. So he also talks about why people with positive aging beliefs end up living longer. He explores all this idea of how mindset changes our physical performance and our recovery. If we believe something or if we have the expectations that things are going to go a certain way, it actually has a huge impact on us. And so that just is mind blowing. So the power of the placebo effect, the power of our beliefs and our expectations is mind blowing. So that just made me go, oh my goodness, like I need to like learn more about this. And actually how we can often unknowingly reinforce expectations that might be limiting us. Like if we expect that we're going to get a bad mark on something, well, then you probably will. And so we may not realize that we're unknowingly having these expectations that limit us without questioning, whether they're really true or not. And so I love this from the field of positive psychology and happiness studies. This book really does beautifully reinforce the idea that well-being is not just about circumstances. It's also about our personal interpretations. It's also about meaning. It's about our beliefs. It's about our expectations. It's not just about our circumstances. So I really, really got a lot out of this book. And so the actionable nuggets that I pulled out, and there are so many. So, I mean, for sure, grab this book. It's so good. Some of the practical takeaways that were surprising actually to me was name your expectations. So he's teaching us to name our expectations. And so awareness is the first intervention. So knowing what are your expectations? So what you expect, if we know that what we expect shapes what we notice, right? Then what is it that we're expecting? So we want to name our expectations and we can use this to our advantage too. Like I expect lots of, fun adventure on this trip coming up. If we name it, then we're going to look for lots of fun adventure on our trip coming up. You can see how powerful it is. So awareness, he talks about, is that first intervention. What you expect shapes what you notice. And so what are we expecting? What are we noticing, right? If we're expecting the kids to be tired and grumpy when they come home, we're going to be shaping that. So it's really powerful. So name your expectations is one of the things he talks about in his book. And he talks about this idea of that awareness is the first intervention. Be aware of what your expectations are. And then what you expect shapes what you notice. And that's powerful. So reframe stress as functional. This I loved. So there's so much in this book, but this is one thing that stood out for me. So a lot of times we're programmed to think that stress is like a bad thing. And he talks about reframing stress as functional. So viewing stress as helpful rather than harmful actually can change our physiological outcome. So for example, if you think stress is going to help you get things done, if you think stress is going to make you perform better on stage, then it will. And it actually can serve to help you. If you think stress is going to deteriorate your health or like cause anxiety or anxious feelings, then it probably will. It does, and it has been shown to change our physiological outcome. So he talks about reframing stress as functional, that we can, and obviously chronic activation of the stress response creates distress. So I love that reframe alone is so powerful. It's like, oh my gosh. And I usually think, yeah, like when I'm stressed, like I get a lot done. Like if the deadline is here, it's like that stress actually does bring me lots of motivation. Okay, so another thing that stood out for me as actionable is use expectation priming. So prime your environment, like get yourself primed to have these cues in your environment to help you. And so in really noticing your language that you're choosing, how you're framing things, what is your self-talk, this can all influence how your body and your mind respond. So small cues in your environment, like even I love putting sticky notes on my on my mirror. I love putting them in my car on my mirror. I love saying them. I love having I have a flip calendar that has a daily support that I look at every morning. So I use expectation priming like that. And I even start my day. My mom taught me this. She always starts her day saying each new day is a gift with infinite possibilities. And she does like a sun breath and yoga. And so I start my day the exact same way because that is priming my expectations. Each new day is a gift with infinite possibilities. Like, how beautiful is that? Thanks, Mom. She's so sweet. So yeah, using expectation priming, small cues. It could be language. It could be how we frame things. It could be self-talk that can really influence how our body and our mind respond. And so another super amazing actionable takeaway that I took away is question inherited beliefs. And now this stood out for me because I had all these expectations around menopause from hearing people say, oh gosh, it gets worse, Andrea. Wait till you have this, or the belly fat, this and that. Like, oh my gosh. And these were all inherited, imposed upon me beliefs that, yeah, I know some of them, a lot of them is like there's a lot of things that happen when we go through menopause, but it's amazing how that might be an inherited belief. So if I'm expecting to get a pot belly because of hormonal shifts, then I might very well get a belly from that. And so he really does challenge us to question inherited beliefs, things that are passed on to us, things that have been socially imposed on us, especially things around aging or energy or pain or limitations. He really does challenge us to question inherited beliefs. And I love that. In my own life, oh my gosh, this has shown up as becoming more intentional with language and what I'm choosing and how I'm priming my environment for success and who I surround myself with and things like that too. And what keeps me expecting such great things. And then if I catch myself, oh, that's an expectation, delete, delete, cancel, cancel, like shift. Because I realize now from reading all this in the books and the study of positive psychology and happiness is that, you know what, this is more powerful than we even realize. And so remember, what we say before we start something often determines how it's going to unfold. And so I love this. This is such a powerful book. So many things were meaningful and moving for me in this book and just like aha moments. But one of the things that felt very meaningful was the hope that this book offers that, you know, it's not really unrealistic and it's not woo-woo. It just scientifically confirms, you know, this idea that what we expect, it shows that expectations work alongside our efforts, work alongside our environment, work alongside our self-care and care. And that this balance matters, that expectations play a huge role alongside, you know, comfort and effort and environment and everything that is there. So this all matters. This book feels like it's a wonderful understanding of, you know, and putting the science behind it's like the expectation effect. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like if I expect that parking lot, then sure enough, it's like, oh my gosh, like that's weird. But then it's like, okay, I'm expecting it to happen and then it happens. It's amazing how that works. All right, so this book feels so deeply aligned with an approach that we can take to know that our expectations actually have impact on our actions and our emotions and everything. It reminds us that, you know, we're not weak for being affected by our beliefs. We're human. And so even if we have an expectation that's not so great or not in our favor, we're human after all, but we can change that. We can shift it to make it work for us. We can learn to work with our expectations instead of against them. We can learn to unlock this with like, you know, expectations to help us live with more ease and possibility. I love it. Okay, so the one sticky notes. I always put, if I were to put one sticky note on a book and I write them down so I know what to say here, the one sticky note I would put on top of this book would be Your expectations are not just thoughts. They're signals to your brain and there's signals to your body to respond to. That's powerful. And I also would put when you shift the story you expect to live, you often change the experience itself. I have to say that again. When you shift the story you expect to live, you often change the experience itself. And science has confirmed this. The other part of the sticky note is awareness, language, and belief are such powerful tools for shaping our health, happiness, and resilience. So powerful. Oh my gosh. Well, there you have it. This book is so good. The expectation effect. It reminds us that what we anticipate quietly can shape what unfolds. So amazing. So, question, where in your life might changing your expectations, even if it's just slightly, where in your life might changing an expectation open the door to a better experience? That is a great question. So I always say books change lives, especially the ones that help us see our own power more clearly and the more influence that we have on our life. And I just love celebrating books that support our well-being and the authors behind them. So if you want action sheets on this, you want more summaries, join us inside the Live Life Happy community where we turn great books like this into insight, action, and lived wisdom. Thank you so much for being here.